Hello everybody, my name is Jennifer Maker. Today we are going to make our own face masks on the Make It Easy Craft Along Challenge. So my brother-in-law Chad works at the same hospital where I and many members of my family were born at. And a few days ago he told me that masks at our hospital were in short supply and soon there would be no masks at all for our healthcare workers. That is just not okay. And as it happened, I had been researching the best methods, materials, and all that stuff for making face masks at home. And I knew I could make them and I could show you how to make them too. So while a homemade face mask won't protect us as well as a proper medical grade N95 mask, these masks can still be a last resort when there are no other masks available. Research shows that a properly made face mask, yes, even a homemade mask, can slow down the spread of bacteria and viruses in a community and protect our vulnerable friends, family, and neighbors. I am sewing face masks because I care, and I'm hoping that you're going to join me. So I asked my brother-in-law, who is a respiratory therapist at the hospital, what features he needed in a face mask when he is at the hospital, and we came up with a pattern that has all of them. Our free face mask pattern comes in 3 sizes, small, medium, and large, and it could include a pocket for a replaceable filter right here, adjustable straps for a tighter fit, and a wired nose guard for a more secure hold. You can make these face masks with all of the features or go simpler. It's entirely up to you. So what do you need to make a face mask? Well, so after reading the Cambridge University study on the best household materials for face masks, I feel we'll get the most effective results from at least 1 layer of heavyweight t-shirt cotton, regular old t-shirt, that's right, and at least 1 layer of tightly woven cotton material. I bet you have these things at home already, don't you? And you can clean and sterilize these materials by boiling them in water, drying them in a dryer at least 104 degrees Fahrenheit, or by pressing them with a hot iron. And if you want to include a filter, there's a couple of ways if you want and are able to get creative. The Cambridge University study recommends using a section of a HEPA filter vacuum bag, and HEPA air filters at 1900 strength also work. They can be cut down and used as filters that can be switched out as frequently as needed. You'll also want some ribbon ties or something else to create the adjustable straps. You can of course use elastic, but that's not something that all of us just have hanging out at home, is it? And a piece of 20 to 22 gauge wire is used to create a nose guard at the top of the mask. Beyond this, you just need a way to cut out your material. You can of course use scissors or a Cricut cutting machine like I am, and a way to sew your fabric. Break out the needle and thread or use a sewing machine. Other useful things are an iron, a ruler, pins, and a fabric marker. And of course, you need the patterns. So let me show you where to find my free face mask patterns, and then I will show you step by step how to cut and assemble your face mask. Step 1. Get the pattern. My free DIY face mask pattern comes in several formats. You can get a printable PDF for cutting by hand or an SVG cut file for cutting with a Cricut machine. My pattern collection has everything you need to make your own personal face mask. Download the face mask pattern collection from my blog at jennifermaker.com. I keep all of my free patterns in my free resource library. To find the library, go to the red navigation bar at the top of the screen and choose Get a Free Password, or if you already have a password, choose Enter the Library. Once inside the library, you simply find the face mask link and click it to download it. Be sure to unzip it after you open it. If you're unfamiliar with how to download, unzip, and use cut files like this, please visit jennifermaker.com/svgs for a tutorial. Also note that if you choose to cut this pattern on a Cricut Explorer or Maker, you'll need to upload the file to Cricut Design Space, choose the right size of face mask, hide or delete the others, and then change the inner line of each face mask piece from cut to draw in the line type menu at the very top of the window, and then attach it to the outer face mask portion by selecting both layers and then clicking Attach. Step 2. Cut the fabric. If you're cutting this face mask by hand, just print out the printable PDF. Cut out each piece as directed and use it to trace the patterns onto your fabric. I recommend you use a different color or pattern of fabric for your mask's outer layer so you always know which side is front and don't accidentally put the front side against your face. Once you've traced the pattern onto your fabric, measure in 3/8 of an inch on all sides to mark where you will sew the mask, and then cut out your fabric at the outer edges where you first marked it. So you have two lines, an outer line and an inner line. You cut at the outer line. If you're making the 2-layer mask without the filter pocket, you'll end up with 4 pieces. If you're making the 3-layer mask with the filter pocket, you'll want 6 pieces plus 2 pieces cut from your filter material. Now, if you're wondering about the filter material, in this tutorial I am using a HEPA air filter I opened and flattened. I got this from the home improvement store. Another option that fares well in research studies for stopping germs is a HEPA vacuum cleaner bag. Either way, you can cut the filter material too. Here are our face mask layers. This is the outer layer. This is the inner layer. This is the filter pocket layer. And this is the filter material itself. If you're cutting this face mask on a Cricut Maker, place your fabric right side down, so the pretty side down, on a pink fabric grip cutting mat. Load your rotary blade into your Maker and put your fabric marker into the clamp. Now load your cutting mat with your fabric into your Maker, press the load button, and then when you see the flashing light, press the flashing light button to begin your cut. If you're cutting on a Cricut Explore, you must first bond your fabric before you can cut it. To bond your fabric, cut a piece of freezer paper the same size as your material and attach the shiny side of the freezer paper to the right side of your fabric by pressing with an Cricut Easy Press or an iron for 30 seconds at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Once your fabric is bonded with the freezer paper, place the bonded fabric freezer paper side down on your cutting mat. You can use the pink mat or the green mat. Load your regular fine point or bonded fabric blade, both will work, into your Cricut Explorer. Put in your fabric marker if you have one. Load your mat and press the flashing button to begin your cut. If you have issues, chances are you didn't bond your fabric well enough to the freezer paper and you should try again. You may also want to check that your blade is free of any debris and is clean. When you're done with your cut, remove the cut pieces from the mat, and if the freezer paper is still stuck on the back, just remove that. Step 3. Sew the fabric to put your face mask halves together. After you've finished cutting out your face mask pieces, take the 2 halves of each matching fabric piece and line them up right sides together. Now sew the 2 halves together along the curved outer edge along the seam line marked at 3/8 of an inch from the edge. Here's what it looks like when you're all done sewing the 2 halves together. Do the same thing for all matching sets until they're all attached along their curved edge. Once all your fabric pieces are sewn along their curved edge, you should press your seams open from the inside on all pieces except the filter piece. This is a little tricky because it's curved, but pressing the seams open will give you a flatter look. Now, if you have problems getting those seams to lay flat because of the face mask's curve, put something curved underneath it and then press it. I used a roll of paper towels under my fabric piece as a surface to press against, and it worked great. Here's what the face mask pieces look like with all the seams pressed open except for the filter, which you don't need to press open, but of course you do want to sew together. Step 4. Add your pocket, if you're including the optional filter layer. Now, if you're putting the filter pocket layer on your face mask, Fold over one end of the pocket layer twice, about 1/2 inch with each fold, like this. The purpose of this fold is to give you a clean edge for your pocket so you don't have threads unraveling or edges curling that could make it difficult to put your filter in and out. Now sew up your folded edge to keep it folded and in place. Now place your filter pocket layer against your inner fabric layer. You want the right side of the inner layer against the wrong side of the pocket layer so you can see both right sides at the same time, like this. It's a little tricky, so just study this image to make sure that you've got these two layers going in the right orientation. And feel free to pin it in place, I didn't bother. Step 5. Add the straps for your mask. In this step, you will pin and baste your strap, ribbon, or tie to each corner of your face mask. I'm using ribbons in this tutorial for those who cannot get their hands on elastic, but you can also use elastic straps, of course. First, cut 4 pieces of 18-inch ribbon or ties, or whatever you have that is not stretchy. That's important. You want it to be strong and not stretchy. Now pin 1 ribbon to each corner of your inner fabric layer, about 3/8 of an inch down from the top and bottom edges, like this. It's important you don't pin them right at the top or bottom edges because that is the extra fabric that will disappear into the seam. Once each ribbon is pinned in place, baste each ribbon in place with the sewing machine or needle and thread. Basting means to put in quick temporary stitching that simply holds something in place until it can be permanently sewn later. This is what your face mask looks like when all the ribbons are basted into place. Step 6. Sew up your face mask. Place your outer layer on top of your inner layer, right sides together, like this. Make sure everything lines up and your seams are in the same place. Feel free to pin it if you want. Tuck your ribbons inside to make sure you don't catch them when you're sewing your pieces together. I just pulled one set all the way through to the other side to make sure they were free and clear. I pulled the set that was opposite from the folded edge on the pocket layer because that made the most sense. Now sew around the top, side, and bottom of the face mask layers, 3/8 of an inch from the edge along the marked line, leaving one side open, completely open. You want to leave the side with the ribbons that's pulled through open. Don't sew that side. Clip each corner of your sewn mask at an angle to reduce bulk. Just be careful not to cut into the stitching. Now carefully turn your face mask right side out and poke out each of the corners. If you have any problems getting the corners nice and straight, you can poke them from the inside with the end of your scissors, and that usually helps get those nice straight corners. Here's what your face mask looks like now. We just have to sew up that open side. Turn in and enclose the side that is not sewn. I simply tucked the material in to make straight folds and then pinned it in place. Carefully sew the side closed, being sure to do a back stitch at the start and end to keep the mask secure. Once it's all sewn up, iron the edges of your mask for a nice crisp appearance and a better fit. Step 7. Add the wire if you're making a fitted nose guard for your mask. If you'd like a better fitting mask, you can add a nose guard with a piece of flexible 20 to 22 gauge wire. Cut off a piece of wire about 4 inches long and curl each end in so it doesn't poke out of your mask. Place the wire along the top middle edge of your face mask and mark its position at either end of the wire with pins and put the pins right into your mask. Now sew a channel about 3/8 to 1/2 inch down from the top edge of the face mask, starting at the first pin, and then sew across parallel to the top of the mask to the second pin, but do not sew up to the edge. You want to make sure that you have, one side of this channel open. Now slide your wire into the channel that you sewed. And if that looks good, you can just sew up the channel to keep the wire in place. If you're at all worried about the wire and washing, you can just keep the channel unsewn so that you can remove the wire when you're washing it. Now the wire is embedded in the mask, which means that we can shape it around the nose and the mask will fit better. Step 8. Insert your filter. If you created the filter pocket, you can now put your filter into your mask. I found it easiest to grab the left corner of the filter and put it all the way into the inside corner of the face mask, then smooth it all out. And here we go. The filter is in our face mask. It's easy to remove the filter when it's time for a fresh one or when you need to wash your mask. And I recommend that you hand wash this and allow it to air dry. And that's it. You made a face mask. This is my brother-in-law, Chad, wearing our face mask pattern made by his daughter, Natalie. Now, she made Velcro straps that wrap around the head. If you'd like to see the exact specifications and how she created these, they're over on my blog at jennifermaker.com/face masks. I would love to see your masks. I'm sure you'll all come up with some really interesting color combinations. And there we go. If you have any questions on how to make the face mask, come on over and ask in our Facebook group. Everyone is welcome, of course. We'd love to see your face masks as well. Join us at jennifermaker.com/Cricut Crafters. If you are wondering where to send your completed face masks, contact your local hospital or elder care facility to see if they are accepting masks. I am also inviting anyone to send me their homemade masks so I can give them in bulk to my local hospital, who will accept them. Get the details on how to send those to me over on my blog at jennifermaker.com/face masks. Thank you so much to my daughter Alexa for modeling the face mask to us. And until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.